feeling like I'm in that end zone. I got my homies in a no new friend zone. You know, making plays that land us in the end zone. Coming in clutch, you can catch me in the end zone. End zone.
What is happening, everyone, and welcome back to In the End Zone UK, your place for all things NFL and more. Week 3 in the NFL is officially wrapped. And if there is one headline this week, it's simple. It's special teams. We had blocked punts, kick returns, not one, not two, but 3 blocked field goals, 2 returned for touchdowns, all potentially to win or lose games near the final buzzer. This week was absolute madness, and we have got plenty to break down. With me today to do all of that, as always, is the Tennessee whiskey drinking, maybe to drown his sorrows, Titans fan. Big Dave, how are you doing on this fine morning?
Yeah, all good. Ready to talk some football, dish some slaps out.
Love to hear it. And also with us today, looking maybe a little more downtrodden than previous weeks, is the Packers man himself. It's Lil Camo. Lil Camo, how are you doing today?
Yo, yeah, no, all good. Still smug, just not about the Packers. Yeah,
Love that.
It was a tough watch, but you know, these things happen, and we will break it down in a minute.
Absolutely. It's a long season and plenty of things happen. And this week, I'm calling special teams, because it was especially wild during the witching hour this week. Last week, we thought it was wild. This week was equally as wild for different reasons. It felt like there was special plays happening all over the place to either help or hinder teams that had huge impacts on many games. And so right now, we would normally start with some breaking news. And don't get me wrong, there is some literal breaking news. How many players have broken arms, legs, Achilles, tendons, toes? We could probably sit here for about an hour and just talk about those and all that misfortune. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to be just the entire bearer of bad news. I think we should move straight into recapping this week. And whilst we do so, we'll try and cover off any big injuries that have come through over the last week or two. So that's the way that we're going to do it today. We're going to skip breaking news and we are going to jump straight into something else. And speaking of injuries, let's give out some more. There is no way better to recap the week than handing out some slaps and some signs in our famous segment, It's Slap or Sign. Right, boys, as always, we pick a player or two from the AFC, NFC. They get a slap for stinking up the field, or they get a sign for balling out. We go across the AFC, NFC. Lil Camo, I'm going to come to you, and we're going to start with the NFC, and I want your sign. Let's start nice, and then we'll deal out the pain a little bit later. Who are you signing from the NFC this week?
So this week, I'm going to sign Marcus Mariota from the Commanders.
Right.
Obviously, he is the backup to Jaden Daniels, who is out this week with an injury. But he came in against the Raiders, and you know, it's his first game in 3 years. He did all right, bless him. He led the team to a 41-24 win, but he just sort of controlled it, done what he needed to do, didn't do anything special. He was all in. He rushed one in for a touchdown. He found Terry McLaurin deep. Don't get me wrong, he was massively helped by a really good run game and sort of special teams with kickoffs and punt returns going either to the house or going deep. But he just controlled the game against what I would say is quite a poor looking Raiders team. But he done well, and it's exactly what you need from a backup QB if he's in for one game. Come in, play that. You might not be playing the way you'd normally play, but find a way to win so that when your starting QB comes back, you're still on track. And to have not played in 3 years and then to have done that, good on him.
Absolutely. No, nice one, Cam. And like we delve deep into the archives here to get our slaps and signs, and Marcus Mariota is a little one left field, but I do hear what you're saying. It's a really important place in football to be able to rely on your backup quarterback, and many teams cannot do that. And I think, Dave, before the game, we were talking about fantasy and whether to play like Debo or who was playing Terry McLaurin, and actually obviously Marcus Mariota is not a Jaden Daniels, but quietly confident in Mariota's experience, I guess, after the amount of time he's been in the league. And he did really well. He had a touchdown on the ground, touchdown through the air. I think anybody who benched Commanders players is probably not feeling great in fantasy, right?
Yeah, and again, you know what you're getting with Mariota. You're getting a quarterback who can extend the play with his legs, and that's essentially what he did. You know, he's very much like that Jaden Daniels archetype. You know, he's a run first, I would suggest, before pass.
Yeah,
I think I said to you before, I said he'd have been a good pickup for somebody in fantasy.
Yeah,
before the game.
Yeah.
You know, he's difficult to scheme against. You know, and he's probably not had the opportunity. Well, maybe he's definitely had the opportunities, but not had the right opportunity, I would suggest, with a decent team around him.
And equally, I don't think he's ever stunk the place up in the NFL, has he? He's never been amazing, and he's never been like absolutely god awful. He was obviously at your Titans at one point in time, and then bounced around the league. But he's never been to the point where you think, oh, that guy doesn't deserve to be in the league necessarily. It's like, yeah, he's probably exactly where he needs to be now, a really comfortable backup. But yeah, nice, Cam. I think he did find McLaurin on a couple of deep shots. He ran one in himself. It's really a really good spot if you can be the Commanders and get a big win over the Raiders with your backup quarterback. And that game finished 41-24. They were playing at home with the Commanders in Washington, but the Raiders, they started strong, and then they've been on a bit of a sluggish continuation over the last couple of weeks. I don't know where that comes from, but it just seems like they're not quite operating on all cylinders. And I guess whilst we're talking about the Raiders, what are we thinking about Ashton Genty at the moment? How are we feeling, Dave? I know you weren't particularly high on him, and he was a bit shit when he came out of the college into the Raiders. What are you feeling about him now?
Yeah, still the same. He's not got the ability to block rushes. You know, he doesn't seem like he's. If you look at him, and then I know that Scatterbo's, he's a different kettle of fish because he just does not care. But you need a running back to be able to block, especially with how leaky that Raiders offensive line is. You know, but you'll see. I've seen people defending him on Instagram and stuff, saying, "Oh, well, his offensive line's bad." Go back to Saquon Barkley's rookie year. Was that offensive line any good? Was it? It was awful.
No, yeah,
no, and he still won rookie of the year. You know, that's the kind of difference. I don't think anyone's expecting him to be Saquon Barkley, but when you have such a hype coming out of college, when you rush for 2,000 yards or whatever he did, it kind of shows you the difference between some of these college teams and then real dudes in the NFL, big ass men, you know. And he took a handoff in the backfield, not this week, it was last week, and his O-lineman got pushed back into him, and he just fell over. It was like he kind of hit him, but didn't have the ability to stay standing. It was a real weird play, but he just looked weak, and he looks really small. He looks small compared to like everybody else.
He does look small, and he looks short, obviously. And I think that once everyone's padded up, because he's a unit, and when you see him without his pads on, he's a unit. Like he's built, but I'm assuming that maybe he just looks that way without his pads on, and then once you got pads on, everybody's probably a unit in the league, really. And so a picture of him on Instagram without his shirt on versus anybody else, like a Nick Bosa or a TJ Watt, they probably dwarf him, but you just don't realize because they're not stood next to each other. But yeah, I think you're right. And yeah, equally, to be such a high pick taken as a running back as well, the grades that he was given, Saquon and McCaffrey were the two. And I'm not, it's week 3, so we can't wrap him in bubble wrap and say that he's finished, but certainly not seen, like you said, the likes of Barkley or McCaffrey explosiveness in his first 3 games. And he's had the opportunity. I think they've fed him enough. I think Geno bounced back in this game fairly, I would say nicely, but enough to be able to come back from a real bad game against the Chargers last week. So I think Geno's maybe just salvaged a little because he could have been on a really bad trajectory. And Trey Tucker, he could have had a sign this week, even though they lost. Trey Tucker, 145 yards and 3 touchdowns, wide receiver for the Raiders. I'm sure he will be on many a waiver wire come Wednesday morning in fantasy. But we move and we move to Big Dave. Big Dave, who are you signing from the NFC this week?
I'm signing the one and only Baker touchdown maker.
Baker Mayfield. Yes, nice.
Yeah.
I nearly did.
Yeah, he's truly found a home with the Bucs, and 3 for 3 on sort of last minute drives. to win games this season.
Yeah, it's amazing. Clutch.
Yeah, like turbo clutch. You know, he's really, really. He got injured a little bit in this. His throwing hand got a little bit dinged up in this. Mike Evans left the game sort of halfway through with a hamstring injury. Ibuka was on a snap count as well, so he didn't really have everything going for him. But the Jets put up a fight. But I mean, Tyrod Taylor didn't actually look that bad. Speaking of Mariota earlier, but yeah, Baker Mayfield. I mean, he finished with 233 yards and a touchdown, but also had 66 rushing yards. In fact, I'm lying to you. He had 44 rushing yards on 4 attempts. You know, 11 yards. Yeah. And he can just will that team to win. Sterling Shepard's had an absolute career rivalry there. You know, he's an older guy now, but he's still absolutely doing bits. He had 80 yards. Ibuka 85, Evans 33 and a touchdown. Bucky Irving is something special as well. He's a good running back. You know, Pat runs angry. He had 66 yards on the ground and 33, so he had 100 yards from scrimmage. You know, they're playing well as a team. So yeah,
no, absolutely, they really are. And like you say, the will to win for Baker Mayfield, I almost feel is like second to none in the NFL. I feel like he wants a win so badly, and sometimes it's obviously to his detriment. He does end up going headfirst into huge linebackers and safeties and getting popped. But even better, he pops back up. You know, even if he's hurting, he gets back up, gives them some mouth service and carries on. And I think the other thing about Baker Mayfield, I think he's just such a locker room guy by the sounds of it. I don't particularly like his demeanor, but I think a lot of people do. And I think he trusts people. I think he trusts his receivers. That's why Sterling Shepard, this Ibuka, he's obviously a rookie. Like there's no tape to trust him with. But Baker is not. He's got no like safety switch in his arm. I feel like he just lets it rip. If he sees something, he'll throw it. He won't second guess. He won't. And that's it. Hesitation can be a huge coster in the NFL. And the one thing that Baker does not do is hesitate. And I love that about him. And I think he's very, very good. And like you say, in this game, the reason why they had to go on a big drive was that because of one of the reasons that this is called special teams, is that the Jets were one of the few teams, or many teams, I guess, in the scheme of it, that blocked a game-ending field goal that would have been for the Bucs to take it to a 2-score game, blocked it, picked it up, returned it for a touchdown. That was Will McDonald for the Jets. And that was a huge play, which meant that they were then level. It meant that the Bucs had to then go down and score. And to be fair, to your sign, Dave, it felt inevitable. It felt like Baker was just going to move that ball and they were going to kick the field goal. So, yeah, it's a really good sign. It's why I nearly went there as well. But after the game, he said that one of the guys that coaches the Jets, it might even be the head coach of the Jets now, was the guy that cut him from Panthers back in the day.
Their defensive coordinator. Yeah.
And he said it just meant a little bit more to him to kind of give the middle finger and be like, hey, bitches, look at me now. Threw more touchdowns than nearly any other quarterback last year. And he's probably on pace to do something similar this year.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. The Jets obviously lost that one to the Buccaneers. It was 29-27, so it was very, very close. But the Bucs go to 3-0 and the Jets to 0-3. What a chasm between those two teams that kept. I don't want to say the Jets kept them close. It was very lucky that the Jets came back into that. The Bucs felt like they were riding it. I will drop my NFC sign, and you can't really argue with it because the Vikings absolutely demolished the Bengals, and I'm signing Isaiah Rodgers, who had a game for the ages. I don't think I've ever seen a singular player have such a dominant game, especially a cornerback who plays, as a DB. 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery for a touchdown, a pick six, so an interception for a touchdown, and he was flying around all over the place. He was one of many reasons why the Vikings absolutely pumped the Bengals, but you cannot take away from that man in Isaiah Rodgers, and he had a game for the ages for the Vikings, 48 points to 10 against the Bengals. And your brother, Camo, is also a big Vikings fan, so those two must have been super happy with what they're seeing. But Isaiah Rodgers, nobody would have pinged that. We would have not guessed that he would have had 50 or so fantasy points and put up 2 touchdowns on defense.
No, but absolutely fair play to him. He took his shot and he was exactly where he needs to be. And he was playing hard against another backup quarterback this week. So, I mean, he's the first Vikings player in history to score 2 touchdowns on defense.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I was actually watching it with my brother and my nephew, who's a Vikings fan, who is 7. And he was celebrating every single point that went up and was certainly letting me know about it, as the Packers were not doing that. But yeah, and this is exactly the thing. The Vikings also had a backup QB in Wentz, but their defense stood up and took all the pressure off them. So actually, it didn't really matter what their offense was going to do. So that's what you need. Find a way to win, because it's not easy to do. And the Vikings defense wanted it this week. They
did. And yes, talking about, I mean, there's so many, we're in week 3 and look how many backups are coming in because of injuries. It's kind of horrifying, but also semi-entertaining, I guess. But Carson Wentz comes in, throws 2 touchdowns, very safe with the ball, 14 of 20, 129 passer rating. On the flip side, Jake Browning, who had a nightmare but a win last week when he came in for Joe Burrow. This week, Dave, he looked lost. He looked awful. He took plenty of sacks. He threw 2 really, really bad interceptions, obviously 1 for a touchdown. Cincinnati had 5 fumbles in this game. They lost 3 of them. And I just think that says everything about the Bengals at the moment. I think without Burrow, they're done for.
Yeah, they're the Bungles, aren't they? They should knight Joe Burrow and rename the team after him, because they are absolutely nothing without him.
Yeah,
we've seen it now. We've seen him with Andy Dalton. We've seen him with this Jake Browning, who's absolutely caca. What more do you need as a front office to be like, maybe it's time to go and get some decent offensive line help for this dude?
Mm-hmm.
Because without him, you're nothing, And I saw loads of things on social media about he should ask for a trade and get out of there. I mean, teams would give their stadium away for him, wouldn't they? They'd give the absolute house for him. But
I don't even know what he's worth. Probably like 5 first round and second round picks or something ridiculous. But yeah,
but he's done. He ain't coming back this season. Not a chance. Not after what seen some of the stuff that we've seen about this turf toe, which actually I know we were taking the piss out of it a little bit, but it actually looks like a really savage injury.
Yeah, it looks like when you tear your Achilles, but you do it in your toe, doesn't it? Basically,
yeah. I've seen some funny memes about that, but just go and trade for a quarterback. Go and trade for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Go and trade for famous Jameis, and just go and trade for a proper backup quarterback, and pay the money for him. Pay the tax you're gonna have to pay to get the trade tax you're gonna have to pay to get Kirk Cousins from the Vikings. Because
I agree. Yeah,
not from the Vikings, sorry, from the Falcons. Because if you don't, well, they need to start him anyway. The Falcons should be looking at Kirk Cousins and be like, we ain't getting rid of him.
Yeah,
not with Michael Penis. Michael Penis ain't doing nothing, is he?
No, we'll get
There's
there
some
for sure.
teams in some really sticky situations, and I think Kirk Cousins should be there. I don't know why people aren't calling for him.
No. They probably are, but the Falcons are maybe sat there thinking, actually, maybe we need him. But I think, you're right. And then it's very quickly seen in other games, like, Mariota winning a game, Wentz winning a game. If you go and get somebody who can win a game, maybe they can keep relevant to like when Burrow comes back. Probably not, let's be honest, because the rest of their team evidently by this showing on defense and on offense was awful. But maybe it gives the Bengals team some reason to like not go to bed crying at night, because that's definitely what's happening at the moment. So yeah, interesting one there. And the Bengals are in a lot of trouble without Joe Burrow. So that was obviously the Vikings playing the Bengals and destroying them. Their defensive coordinator is amazing. What a place to be, and some real good pieces on the defense for him there. It's amazing. What's his name again? Who's the defensive coordinator of the Vikings?
Is it Brian
Flores? Yeah. So he's just made Jake Browning's life a misery basically in that game. And if you've got a coordinator who can make players look as good as he made, Isaiah Rodgers and Josh Metellus and Ivan Pace, people who you're not really heard of, I'm sure he could work wonders with even more. So I think his name will definitely be back in the hot seat for a job as a head coach next year, because he's doing amazing things with the Vikings. Okay, we're now going to cause some injuries. Let's start slapping folk. And Dave, I'm going to mix this up a little bit. I'm coming back to you. I want your NFC slap, please.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's getting the good news, unfortunately. I mean, the Cowboys as a whole can probably take it, but they got seen off by the Bears. The Bears. Where they've got a quarterback who paints his nails, wears makeup. You know, if you're into that stuff, have at it. Not really for me. But yeah, Dak Prescott, they did
some eyeshadow on, Dave.
I would probably look a lot better with makeup on. But yeah, the Cowboys, they got blown out. You know, the defense. I mean, it could have gone to any amount of people. Could have gone to Trayvon Diggs. He was awful. The secondary is non-existent. You know, and you can now see why. I mean, the Giants absolutely shit the bed last night against the Chiefs, and they put 40-odd points against these Cowboys defense.
Yeah,
that shows you how bad they are. But Dak Prescott couldn't do. He was just throwing things sideways. He looked out his depth for a guy that's been in the league now for however long he's been in the league. The amount of playoff games that he's played in, he looked absolutely out his depth. 31 of 40 passing attempts, 251 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
It's bad.
You know, them numbers probably don't sound as bad as what the game made him look. But whenever they flicked to that game, the Cowboys could not do anything. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't. His top receiver was Jake Ferguson, a tight end, 13 receptions, turned into Michael Thomas. 82 yards, no touchdown. Pickens had a touchdown. They lost CeeDee Lamb. He went out.
That's massive for them, obviously.
Yeah, Pickens was crying on the sidelines. You know, it couldn't happen to a better team.
Yeah, it's bad. So bad so that they put Joe Milton in at the end and he also threw an interception.
He threw a stinky ass.
Awful.
Yeah. Dak Prescott.
No, fair play. And yeah, we were watching this one together, Dave, and we were saying the same. It felt like if you want to beat the Cowboys, don't bother trying to really run the ball. Just throw it deep because they can't stop you. And that's exactly what the New York Giants sort of clocked onto last week. And we're like, do you know what? Let's test these DBs. Let's test this Trayvon Diggs, who's clearly not healthy, or maybe that's just him now. But he was once upon a time sort of maybe quite good, but he's getting burnt left, right, and centre. And yeah, there's just acres of space in that backfield to the point where Caleb Williams is cutting you up, you know. And Caleb Williams has not looked good over the last 2 games. You know, Caleb Williams has looked actually pretty poor and average, but in this game, he threw 19 of 28, 298 yards and 4 tutties, no interceptions. That's a day for any quarterback, never mind Caleb Williams. And he was spreading that ball out. I think they've definitely got something in that Rome Odunze and Luther Burden. They both feel like really good receivers. I feel like if they were being thrown to by somebody better, it would be even more devastating. But yeah, I mean, look, the 4 players who had touchdowns in this game, Odunze, DJ Moore got his name back on the plate, Cole Kmet, resurgence, and then this new Luther Burden, who's a rookie. So that, for Bears fans, we've probably trashed you over the last few weeks. That's exactly what you want to see, though. You want to see exactly that. New players, reliable players, getting the ball from Caleb Williams, him rolling out and throwing some lasers. But really, really good. And yeah, I think the Bears defense is pretty damn special. Well, I wouldn't say special, but it's good. Feels good to me. It feels like they're all over the place. Montez Sweat, Tremaine Edmonds, Kevin Byard, all sort of just keeping the hand of time from snatching them away at the moment and still playing at a high level, even though they're vets. So, yeah, pretty good. And obviously in your division, Cam, I know you hate the stinky Bears, but what did you reckon to this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is a game of 2 teams you just do not like. But fair play to the Bears. They were at it. They were, like I say, apparently the key is just to pass all over this Dallas team, and the Bears do not have a run game. So it sort of lent into their wheelhouse a little bit. Obviously, I'd like to have seen the Cowboys win it because I don't want to see the Bears win, but all credit to them. They were the better team by an absolute country mile. So, yeah, I mean, we go to the Cowboys next, which takes a bit more significance on for us.
Yeah, probably feels good looking at them at the moment. They've won 1, lost 2. So have the Bears. This Could be quite a long season for the Cowboys if they continue on this trajectory. They had a great start against the Eagles, even though they lost. But yeah, it's difficult. Camo, slapping. Where are you sending your hand?
Oh, this one's close. Slapping the Packers offense. Yeah, so we've looked really good the first 2 weeks at home.
Yeah.
This was our first away game. Going to Cleveland, who have a very dangerous defense, and our offense could not move the ball, or when we did, we were getting flagged for stupid penalties, which was just putting us further back. Jordan Love's decision making, certainly not his best game. We ended up losing this game 13-10, and we were up 10-0 in the third quarter.
In the fourth, I think.
Yeah, we went up 10-0 in the third. In the fourth quarter, 5 minutes to go, it was still 10-0. And
crazy.
Yeah, we just could not finish the game. Every time we got into sort of like a field goal position to maybe like just extend it to another sort of score, we'd end up taking sack after sack, or if it wasn't a sack, it'd be a stupid penalty, and it was not a good look. We brought back in 2 offensive linemen this game that were injured and missed last week.
Yeah.
One of them went out after 1 snap, tore his oblique, or read on his oblique injury. And the other one lasted, I think, 20 snaps.
Right.
And then, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the Browns on this one.
Their defense looked amazing.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely destroyed our offensive line, which has held up really well so far this season. I think Love had 5 sacks. He got sacked 5 times in this one. But we had the ball. Jordan Love, they just kicked back to us. And it was like a pick that I would throw on Madden 1,000 times.
That's true.
Where, I mean, and Love hasn't turned the ball over yet this season. It was his first interception, but it was a bad one. It was a very costly one. On a slant route, there was a safety and a corner there. He just threw it straight at him. But that was in their 20-yard line. They ran it back to the 5-yard line, so it's just dangerous.
Yeah, totally. It was the worst place to throw a pick, apart from obviously taking a pick six, but that ended up leading to points, right? But I think it just goes to show, obviously, having an amazing offensive line, which for week 1 and week 2, the Packers have really, as to Dave's quote, have had 5 business days to throw the ball with Jordan Love. When he hasn't got that, just like any quarterback, just like Patrick Mahomes, whatever, as soon as that pocket collapses, and if you face a team that can collapse that pocket, like Myles Garrett and even their rookie, can't remember his name, but their rookie that they took in the first round, this had a really good game. I think he had 6 pressures. As soon as they can do that to somebody, and with a few injuries on your offensive line, it just goes to show, it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. You can be Jordan Love, you can be Sam Darnold, you can be Patrick Mahomes, you can be Tom Brady. You know, you are in a world of pain when people are rushing at you and they're the size of Myles Garrett. Can't lie. The way
you enjoyed watching this, it was mad.
It was super exciting. The game was not exciting, but the ending was.
The game was terrible, and actually, it took me to rewatch it again afterwards because on the red zone, you didn't see any of this game until like the last 2 minutes. We gave up 10 points within a minute. Then we managed to get into field goal range, and then Josh Jacobs, to me, appeared to have fumbled it.
Yeah.
But somehow we kept the ball. I still think it's a fumble now, rewatching it. But fine, we do that. We get a penalty.
Good teams get good calls, Cam. That's what it is.
Okay, we got a field goal to go up 3 points. Blocked field goal. Return to us about the halfway line. Fine. The Browns then go up and seal the game with a 55-yard field goal to beat us 13-10. And it was just a poor showing all round. I think the play calling wasn't good. We didn't try and stretch the field enough. It was very much a lot of this safe play calling, a lot of runs that were just going for 1 or 2 yards. I mean, we're 1-2. I'm not going to sit here and go, our season's, it's going to be a disaster. It's not going to make an impact on our season. I think we still finish where we're going to finish. We're still going to make the playoffs, but we need to be at home.
I like that it's a little chink in the armor of the Packers, because real talk, the Packers came out in week 1 and week 2 and looked like potentially the best team in the NFL, pretty much, just in terms of the caliber of team that you were also playing against. And you were at home at that magical field that has clearly got some voodoo magic on it. And you destroyed two very good teams, and then you go into the Browns' house and can't score more than 10 points. And it's difficult when you see Josh Jacobs running for 1.7 yards a carry. That's pretty bad. And yeah, I mean, Dave, we were watching this field goal go through together. Let's be true to the listeners. There was some yells and cheers coming out of our house at that time.
Cam, how bittersweet is it? Not bittersweet, I guess. Bittersweet for us that the kicker that you slapped,
Schmidt,
kicked the field goal.
Yeah.
My brother said it. He goes, "Oh, their kicker's a bit shit, though, isn't he?" I was like, "Yeah, apparently not. No." I hope it makes them reevaluate and go harder next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say that we have been really, really hard on the Browns in the off season and up until now. Like, just saying that they are a stinky franchise. I'm definitely not taking that away from them. They are. I think that just, does that make that loss hurt a little bit more, Cam? That we've all said that they are a poverty franchise and that they are the team that gets the win over the Packers, given the circumstances, and that you did slap the kicker and he's nailed a 55-yarder on you. Does that hurt? Does that hurt your bones?
Not any more than any other loss. I'd actually rather lose to an AFC team than someone like in the division or something. That would hurt more.
Okay. Spoken like a true fan. I appreciate that. Nice one. Right. I'm not sure where we are. Is it my slap? I think it's my slap in the NFC, isn't it? So in the NFC, I am slapping the Falcons organization. This team, I don't know what is going on with them, but I don't want to say it over just the last 2 weeks. I just think the Falcons in general, since acquiring Michael Penix, aka Penis, and benching Kirk Cousins, who, was coming off an Achilles, even during last season where he didn't look great, was still lighting some teams up with about 600 yards a game and 5 touchdowns, is now sat on the sidelines watching this guy essentially throw lateral passes to his own team and others to lose the game and not score a single point against the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers, pause for effect. That is a horrendous loss. They lost 30-0. They could not even get, if you got close enough, clawing 3 points here and another 3 points there, get 6 back on the board, make a game of it, just like the Panthers did last week. An atrocious outing for the entire Falcons team, offense and defense. One, you can't stop Bryce Young, who has been really shoddy this year and last year. He's not that guy, even though people might think he is. He's not that guy. And you still can't stop him. And you can't stop him enough to keep your game tight, to the point where you end up putting Kirk Cousins in for 5 passes. And you're fighting a losing battle here. And last week you said you hit the nail on the head with it, Dave. You're so lucky that you drafted Bijan if you're a Falcons fan. You're so lucky as the Falcons organization, who I am slapping, that you slap Bijan Robinson. But the guy can't carry you every week, unfortunately, as good as he is. Teams get smart. They shut him down. He had 13 carries in this game for 72 yards, 5.5 yards a carry. He's not bad. But when you're chasing a game and they are locking you down, there's nothing to be done. It's really poor. And this goes into like a bit more of a rant about the general NFL at this moment. But when Michael Penix threw from the inside his own 20 and he threw it essentially just like a dump off to his receiver, it was almost like a screen. And it got picked off for a 6 for an interception. It was like, you deserve everything you just got, because all you've done is go sideways. A lot of the NFLs do it now. Dave, you just mentioned it with Dak. It's really poor. It's really hurting me, because I like watching good football, and this is not good football. It's like, try not to make a mistake football, but ultimately you can still make a mistake doing it. So really, really bad. I guess credit has to go to the Panthers, I guess, for putting 30 points on the Falcons and actually getting a win. That it's really poor from the Falcons. Like, they should have been, and in our division dives, we said they might be in contention for that South. It's theirs for the taking. Who cares?
Yeah, it was a karma game. Cutting Young Waku, who's been one of the best kickers in the NFL for like the last 5 years, automatic. He's missed a couple this year, granted. They cut him, put a post out on Instagram thanking him after you've just fired him. And then the guy that bought him misses 2 field goals in this game. It couldn't have happened to a better team.
Yeah.
And you've lost to a team. And the Panthers, I don't think the Panthers they've not looked good, but they have looked better in the second half. They've kind of got better every game in the second half.
True.
And fair play to them for sticking a 30 burger on a team that's not scored no points. I would not have took my foot off the gas. I'd have been all over it. I'd have been trying to score 50 points because they need it as a Panthers team. Bryce Young obviously needs some confidence, and a game like that's going to give him that. But Penix, man, he ain't that. I didn't think they should have benched Kirk Cousins last year. It's not as if he was they weren't terrible. I think they had a winning record, didn't they, when they benched him?
Yeah,
I
think they did.
You know, and like I say, they ain't been good since Matt Ryan's MVP year, have they?
No,
when have they? Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Brady buried that franchise, basically.
Yeah. And I think when we went to see him, didn't we? We went to see him play the Seahawks, didn't we, in Atlanta?
Yeah.
And that isn't such an amazing stadium. Probably the best stadium I've been to. It's an amazing stadium. The product they put out on the field is awful.
Yeah, it doesn't match, does it?
Kyle Pitts, man, what on earth?
Yeah,
is wrong with that dude? How can you be so highly touted, drafted the highest a tight end's ever been drafted?
Yeah,
and suck so much ass.
Stinks the entire of Atlanta, Georgia up. He has been he would be up there as one of the most disappointing draft picks ever, surely, because of the hype around him, and his position to be taken so highly and have had done nothing. Yeah, it's really
for a tight end.
Yeah,
it's probably, especially in our time of watching it, there's not been a tight end that's had as much hype that's been absolute caca like him.
No, agreed. So yeah, that's my slap, and it's going to the whole Falcons, and that's because on every side of the ball. Last week they had no inspiration when they were play calling. They tried the same thing this week, and when you're trailing in a game, just call something other than a gap run ISO through the middle with Bijan Robinson, please. It's not fun. It's not fun to watch, and if you're a Falcons fan, it must be absolutely tragic. That's the NFC. Let's move to the AFC. And Camo, who are you slapping from the AFC?
Now, I don't want to spend too long on this one because this guy has had a left, right, and now hopefully a good night. Where I'm slapping Tua, and it actually wasn't his worst game that he's had. The Dolphins kept it quite close with the Bills on Thursday Night Football, but Tua sealed the game once again with a very costly interception. But my thing goes to now, I know he wants to prove that he can still play football. He doesn't want to retire. I really want to see it taken out of his hands, bench him, get the doctors, tell him he's literally got mashed potato for a brain. And I'd love to see someone say, do you know what? For your health, because you're not seeing it through the next 20 years of your life, retire. I know they signed him to a big contract, but find a way to come to a mutual termination of his contract, pay him £15 million or something to walk away. The Dolphins would then get his money back and whatever because he's retired. He walks away with a bit of money and hopefully a few more years in his life, because it's not a good look. And to what you boys have both mentioned so far, I mean, in this game, I think there was one pass attempted over 10 yards.
It's awful.
It's absolutely abysmal. I remember saying this when we had Rodgers in the last sort of year, and it was when LaFleur was just coming in. This sideways balls, it's so bad, so poor to watch.
You don't win games, basically. You might manage games,
crap.
You might control games, but you don't, when you rely on that as your sole way of moving the ball, you don't have the ability to if that's how you play and you don't have anything that can stretch the field, if you go down, you got no way of coming back.
Well, I feel like it's just people are so worried about stats nowadays. Oh yeah, look, but he's made 15 of 20 passes, all of them behind the line.
Yeah.
So I don't want to linger on it too much more, but once again, the Dolphins need some change, and I actually think they need a change at head coach too. But I would actually like to see him now out of the NFL.
Fair play.
Yeah, I don't disagree. That game in itself, I didn't think was a good game. I didn't enjoy watching it. both of them did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know, to have as many throws downfield as you do behind the line of scrimmage is outrageous. 11 in front, 11 behind.
The
they both do it.
Yeah, the difference between the two, obviously, though, is that Allen can take a big hit and doesn't turn to mashed potato if he does decide to take off and can go through people. And in, 2 games prior has shown that he can push the ball downfield as and when he wants to say, beat the Ravens. But when you come across a game where they're both behaving in that manner and playing safe, I guess, it was a crap game to watch. You are right.
Yeah, I think in prime time as well. Like,
yeah.
I
think Cam's right, and I think it is a stats thing, and like maybe not so much for Tua because he's probably playing for his job and his life most of the time. but for Allen, I think it is. I think it's a same sort of Mahomes. Like they're trying to MVP. Like that matters in sports. It matters to them, obviously, which is cool. You've got to have a dream of being the MVP or whatever, but at least try and win you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think it's conducive to winning a Super Bowl. And we were talking, me and you were talking about this with everyone's been on Jalen Hurts. And the one thing I do really like about him is that I think that he doesn't care about stats. All he cares about is winning the game. So he'll do absolutely anything that's possible, whether he'll do whatever the team needs to make sure that the team win.
Yeah, it'll take 10 tush pushes in a row.
Yes, but I mean, ultimately, if they didn't do that, they'd be handing the ball up to Saquon, who's as good as it gets at running back. So they probably would have converted on 75% of those downs anyway. But it's just poor football, and it is really, really boring to watch. Yeah. And that's why that game was awful. I think I turned it off. I was watching. I was awake, so I started watching. I was like, this is absolutely sending me to sleep.
Yeah. No, fair play. And just to finish it off, obviously going back to Tua, Cam, I couldn't agree more. And it was I've slapped him 2 weeks in a row, so I thought not a third, but he threw a third, as in 3 games in a row, game-ending interception, which is just, you can't do that. The Dolphins were in this game against the Bills, and that is crazy to say, but they were. And so, yeah, doing that is just unforgivable as a quarterback, and you can see it in everybody's face on the sideline or whatever. They're just like, no, Tua's just thrown another possible win away. So yeah, Tua gets it. Dave, where are you going for yours?
For my slap?
Yeah.
I'm going to slap. I mean, I've already slapped him. I slapped him week 1, but the douchebag's getting it again. I'm slapping Brian Callahan, the Titans head coach. And this is starting to extend into the front office where they need to sack this dude. He is awful. His play calling is costing his games now. His decision, it's gone past coaching now, and it's now like game playing, like deciding when to use timeouts, when to not go for it on 4th down. Like if you're down, we've not had anything going for the last 3 weeks. You need to, if it's 4th and 1 and you're in their territory, let's start going for it, and let's actually get a bit of, you're at home and you're putting on an abysmal performance. We got absolutely dusted by the Colts this week.
Really bad.
Just like we got beat by the Rams last week. Really bad. I mean, yeah, Cam Ward for a pick with his 3rd pass, and it was one of those stinky dump offs that he said in the end, like in the press conference afterwards, that he told the running back to go the wrong way. So after he'd looked for where he should have been, he obviously knew he was the other side, so he didn't even look. He just threw the ball, and it floated and just got picked off and took to the house. So it wasn't a great start.
But
I'm not putting
interjecting to that. Just sorry, but like what we said the other day, Cam Ward's allowed to make mistakes. Like he's a rookie quarterback, and this is the thing, he hasn't yet. Do you know what I mean?
No, I want him to,
because of how bad they are or how bad the play calls are. He's not even allowed to make mistakes. Like those mistakes become immediate like game changers because like it's nothing else is working. I don't think that's fair on him. Like he's allowed to throw a pick, for God's sake.
Yeah, I couldn't care less how many picks he throws this year, as long as he looks good. And I don't think he's looked bad. I just think that what he made a name for in college was being able to read a defense and throw the ball over the middle. They're not doing that. Let him make those mistakes. Let him look at a defense. Let him change the protection with the offensive line, which has been god awful. And hopefully, if they sack Callahan, his douchebag dad will go with him. and we can just start all over again. You know, I've allowed myself 3 weeks and an off season of dreaming about winning 6 games. That is not happening. So now I'm thinking about, right, who's coming out of the draft, who can actually help us, you know, and that's the kind of Calvin Ridley. Oh my God, this bloke is what I'm going to change my slap. I'm not slapping Calvin. I'm slapping everybody. That's Calvin fair. Ridley. I don't know what's happened to him.
No,
whether he's betting again and betting on his ability to catch the ball. He's awful. Yeah. I would not. There's not a chance I play him. Get rid of him, trade him, cut him, send him to the Chiefs, send him wherever. Get him off my football team because he's stopping so many third down conversions because he cannot catch the ball. He's never had an issue with this until this year. He had drops again this week. It's just I could go on.
He had 7 targets and 1 catch.
Yeah.
7 targets and 1 catch. And those targets weren't just like ball in his vicinity. They hit him in his freaking chest.
Yeah.
And it was bad. I was sat with you watching it, obviously.
Yeah.
And you were going crazy.
Dropped one in the end zone, like an absolute, but into the bread basket. You know, it hit him in his fucking clavicle, in his sternum, essentially. And he dropped it. Had both hands on it and dropped it, you know, for a touchdown. You just can't. We're not in a position where we've got an abundance of those opportunities. Them opportunities come 2 or 3 times a game and they need to be absolutely capitalised on.
Yep. I agree.
So, exactly. It's just, I mean, Ward finished with 219 yards, a touchdown interception, but I'll be honest, a lot of them yards came in I'm glad we got blew out because it gave him the opportunity to chase the game, to throw the ball down the field, to make completions, get some chemistry with these wide receivers. The Conqueror, our tight end, had a good game. He had 66 yards. I'm classing that as a good game for Titan.
That's a good game. Iron Manor looks good as well. Another touchdown.
Yeah, him, DK. They're both. DK looks dangerous on returns. You know, the defense is just collapsed. They just don't look like they're up for it. And that for me is a coaching thing. You know, they need to get some new blood in there. I've said I want John Gruden because I would like somebody who's like really well respected. He's a good defensive coach. You know, and then we'll sort the play calling out, get a play caller in, you know, must know enough people. But they're not going to bring anybody in, are they? They're going to sack this douchebag and then we're going to play. I don't know what's going to happen. But the defense looks lifeless. And last year we were the number 1 defense. And they're lifeless. They've not lost.
No.
They're just lifeless. And it's a pain in the arse, man.
It's a tough watch, especially. This is a divisional matchup. The Colts score 41 points. You score 20. The Colts are on some form of, I don't know, some magical mystery resurgence with Daniel Jones, but they actually look good as well. It's not even like I'm saying they're doing it somehow, you know, through the will of some spirit. They are actually playing really, really good football. And I think I think the Titans are 0-3, the Colts are 3-0. I don't know whether you should be looking to the draft just yet, but it's such a depressing place to be when that is where your mindset is already going 3 weeks into the season. And I feel I'm not trying to sound like, I feel for you, but it's just when you love football, you wanna love it, don't you? And I feel like you've had a really rough decade.
Yeah, it's been rough, but I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? You know, I look at the Texans and the Jags, and they seem like winnable games. When going into the season, I would have been like, the Colts are probably the only team we're going to beat in division. Yeah, that's obviously not happening. Whereas the Texans look woeful, and so do the Jags. So that it's a bit of a stinky South. But while I'm on it, my sign is Shane Steichen, the Colts coach. So I might as well just round it off and just talk about that. And then the game's done and we can put it to bed. But I don't know what he's putting down, but they're picking it up. That Colts team looks unbelievable. I mean, I'm obviously like a Daniel Jones homer from the Giants days now. I couldn't be more glad that he's absolutely kicking ass there.
I know,
that team looks. I definitely wouldn't rather have Daniel Jones, but if going off the last 3 weeks gameplay, Daniel Jones has played better than Josh Allen. He's throwing the ball down the field. He's using his legs. He's being smart with the ball. They've punted once. I guess that's the only takeaway from being a Titans fan, that we made the Colts punt. But whatever he's doing with that team, you know, he's got Jonathan Taylor playing at a high level. Daniel Jones has just turned into this absolute specimen. I legitimately hope it's not just like a 5 or 6 game stretch. I want them to be good.
Yeah.
They're our rival, I guess, but I mean the Texans are probably. I don't dislike the Colts. You know,
My sign is also a Colt, and it's Jonathan Taylor, so I'm wrapping that in there as well. Just because, sat watching him right next to you, and you had him in fantasy, it was like, oh dear, Jonathan Taylor's gone for another 46 yards and a touchdown. There's 3 touchdowns on the day for him. Oh dear, he's caught another ball in the backfield and taken it for 20 yards. He played when he's Jonathan Taylor's a weird one. When he's on, wow, he's switched on. Like if you put 50p in the back of Jonathan Taylor and he's good to go, he is genuinely as good as any running back in the NFL. Like give or take, obviously. I'm not saying he is Derrick Henry or Saquon, but his output can be just as good as any of their outputs on any given day.
I think he's.
So I'm signing him. Yeah.
Yeah, and we said how many games? I'm just gonna have a look. I'm actually gonna have a look now. He's 26 as well, by the way.
Yeah, so young.
How many games has he had where he scored 3 touchdowns? I don't know anybody who he has 3 touchdown games twice, 3 times a season.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature.
So quick. So
just
explosive.
And you can even use him as a power back. He catches out the backfield. They've just got it all going on right now. It must be pretty good to be a Colts fan.
Definitely right now. Historically, over the last few years, it's been horrendous. But definitely right now, it's good to be a Colts fan. Their defense looks incredible as well. We kind of took a tangent there because we had a whole bunch of Colts signs, Shane Steichen and Jonathan Taylor. But I've got to finish with my slap from the AFC, and this one is in the same vein-ish, in the same division, and you equally just mentioned them. I'm slapping CJ Stroud from the Texans. This is another baffling one. Like, what's happened to the Texans? They're 0-3. The Jags beat them. The Bucks beat them. I think the Cardinals beat them. I can't remember who. But they've lost 3 on the bounce. They've got CJ Stroud, number 2 pick overall. They've got a defense that is made up of absolute studs in every position. The only thing they're sort of semi kind of missing, I guess, is like a plethora of receivers. But they've still got Nico Collins. They've still got Dalton Schultz. They've still got this new Higgins guy who was drafted top of the second round. I don't really know what's happening with them, but it's bad. And to lose to a really poor Trevor Lawrence, who was 20 of 40 and 1 interception with a passer rating of 56, how do you lose that game? I actually don't know how you lose that game. The running backs had Etienne had 56 yards, Tootin had 21. Both of them had touchdowns, to be fair. So, like, on their 3.5 yards a carry and long of 10 each, they managed to squeeze this game 17-10 against the Texans, which, to me, is there is no semblance of hope that Texans team can ride with any of those big boys in the AFC to make an AFC championship, which throws everything else into turmoil. Because in our division dives, I think we all said the Texans were going to be dominant, and they are far from dominant. But I mean, Camo, I know you're in recent years a big fan of CJ Stroud and what he's been able to do with the Texans. What do you think's wrong with him at the minute?
Honestly, I don't know. They're missing a run game.
Yeah.
So they are having to rely on him throwing the ball, but that's not been an issue previously. Like Nico Collins the last 2 years has been lighting it up whenever he's getting the ball. But you just don't feel confident at all right now with this Texans team, and you just don't feel like they're going to win. Watch this game yesterday. The Jags were up majority of the game, but it was very close. The Texans managed to get a touchdown and bring it back, but as soon as they'd done that, they give up points again. And it is just baffling for what I thought was going to be, and could still turn out to be, one of the better teams in the AFC to not win one of your first 3 games. Like, what's the stats on teams that lose their first 3 games and then make the playoffs? I always see it about the first 2 games. Teams that go 0-2 have like a 30% chance of making the playoffs or whatever it is. 0-3, got to be real difficult to do.
It's very low. I think it's something like you've got like less than a 3% chance of making the playoffs if you go 0-3.
2.4.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, 4
I
teams.
mean, I would say for them, I think they still could do it. Like being in that South, it isn't a great division right now. I think they could still do it, but they can't allow many more slip-ups at all. I mean, Dave, we said to you at the start of the season, in 3 games, you'd be matching the Texans. You'd probably be quite happy, thinking that they'd have a few wins on the board. But I don't. Yeah, this is one of the most baffling things of the season so far is CJ Stroud's disappearance.
Yeah, for sure. And like you say, when you look at it and you go, oh, the Titans and the Texans have got the same record. It's 0-3. It's like, wow, that's rough.
It's depressing.
Like,
yeah. Keep reminding me.
Sorry, Dave. We will move into some more joyous signs as opposed to slaps. So let's go into the AFC signs. And Camo, who are you signing from the AFC?
Going to sign Cam Hayward / the Steelers defense. Now, this, I'll be honest, was a poor game. Again, it was awful. The Steelers were playing the Patriots, and the Patriots had the ball a lot, and they put up a number of yards. They also like to give the ball away. It was ridiculous.
It was a joke.
Poor football all round. But Cam Hayward came up with 2 big plays within the 5-yard line.
When doesn't he? I think that man gets his hands on passed balls more than any other defensive lineman. As in, legit, I think that's a stat. I think Cam Hayward has more bat down balls than any other player in like the current NFL.
Yeah, like that's it. In this one, it was
there.
Yeah, so the Patriots were in the red zone. I think it was within inside the 10-yard line. Cam puts his hands up, gets a tip on it, gets intercepted in the end zone. That was just before the half, I think.
Yeah.
Also, Patriots get the ball back. They're in the red zone. Was it Rondell Stevenson or whatever the hell his name is? The running back for the Patriots.
Ramondre.
That's the guy. I mean, I've got him in fantasy, and I do not know why. He coughed the ball up a number of times, but one of them was on the goal line.
Yeah.
Cam Hayward gets a hand in there, strips him as he's going over the line. So the Patriots are in the 5-yard line twice and come away with 0 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a real bad showing on, I'd say, be honest, both teams. It didn't look great. I really wanted to see Aaron Rodgers lead this Steelers team, look good, ride off into some form of sunset. I don't see it. He might win a few games against some bad teams. It's not going to happen, but the Steelers defense, five takeaways, and only to win 21-14 after turning the ball over 5 times.
Yeah. You can't ask for any more. You can't ask for any more from your defense at that point. To, like you say, to have 5 actual takeaways, whether they be from fumbles or interceptions, etc., etc. You can't ask your players to do any more, and still only scraping a win against the Patriots is rough. I mean, the Patriots are obviously a lot better than they were last year, and I saw some good things in this game. I mean, it finished 21-14, so it was a 7-point game. Drake May doesn't look horrendous. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He can move with his legs as well, 45 yards on the ground. Drake, I think they've got something in Drake May. Whether he's their actual answer, I don't know, but he's going to help them win games. But yeah, to have two lost fumbles for Ramondre Stevenson, Camo, is unforgivable, even though they are forced fumbles. So I guess it's a prof for your defense, bad for your running back. But yeah, same goes. I mean, circling back to Cam Hayward, he's an animal. He's still doing it at however old he is, 35, 36 years old. Last week against the Seahawks, he had a tip pass that caused interception, which was massive. He does it every week. And so the sign for him is definitely warranted. And I know defensive linemen, there's not many better out there than Cam Hayward. Dave, who are you signing from the AFC?
I mean, I've already done it. We spoke about Shane Steichen, didn't we, in the Colts?
Of course.
So
there we go. Shane Steichen from the Colts. And I'm signing Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. So they're getting a lot of love today. And that essentially means that slap and sign is all over. We're finished. A lot of players, I think, this week certainly could have deserved to be slapped. And I guess for the opportunistic moments of the special teams could have also been signed. But there was a lot of basic football that was just not executed this week that absolutely should have been. But I guess when you've got 5 or 6 backup quarterbacks in games, things like that are going to happen. We move into our game recaps. And I'm going to start with, I mean, you guys have both spoken about your teams, so I guess I'll start with the Seahawks. I was tempted to sign the Seahawks special teams or defense, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it for a recap only, because actually I think that the majority of what happened in this game was, I think it was just a series of different types of, dare I say, dominance that came into play here. I mean, the Seahawks ended up winning this game at home, Lumen Field, 44 to the Saints 13, and the 7 points by the Saints was scored in garbage time in the fourth quarter. I think this was just one of those games where everything sort of goes right for the team. You know, like, you very infrequently do you have that happen. And certainly for the Seahawks, I can't remember the last time that we blew a team out. I think that for me, it was obviously an enjoyable moment to watch the boys actually do something good. And I think it all stemmed from the defense being overwhelming for what is a really kind of poor Saints offense. And it all stemmed from there. There was a lot of mistakes by the Saints. There was a lot of penalties by the Saints to start the game, and we just capitalized on all of those. So yeah, I mean, I can only say so much, I guess, without sounding like, you know, I'm gloating at the Seahawks, but they've won a game. And Jackson Smith-Njigba had his first touchdown this week after having, you know, multiple 100-yard games this season so far. He had 96 today, so that's also good. But it's just some things were clicking, and when you see that happen with your team, that's really, really nice to see. And equally, some stuff that we've not seen, like Torrey Horton had a kick return for a touchdown. He was a guy that I spoke about on our division dives, somebody who was going to come in and not necessarily replace DK, but he's going to be a field stretcher. And he came in, had a kick return for a touchdown, also had an amazing catch in the end zone for a touchdown from Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold finished with 220 yards, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating of 154. It's basically as good as it gets when you're in a position of, you know, total casual play, because that's exactly what it ended up being. And we had a block punt in this game, so special teams, a block punt that should have been taken in for a touchdown, but nevertheless just put us in scoring distance for Kenny Walker to run in. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground, but didn't look particularly dominant. He just made use of the opportunity he has. But I think, yeah, overall, you know, to take on the Saints, who are now 0-3, is and actually really win convincingly is all I could ask for. Our defense looked really good until we started putting backups in, and then they started moving the ball. Yeah, I guess Spencer Rattler looks okay, but I still don't think they found their guy. He's just going to be a placeholder. As Dave said yesterday, last time on the podcast, he's like a rent-a-car owner until they get somebody in who's worthwhile. But yeah, I think it was one of those where I was happy that the Seahawks put together a bunch of things that they needed to get the lead, and we got a big win, a much needed win at home, and I'm very happy about it. You know, definitely takes the edge off, you know, some really tight games over the last couple of weeks, and yeah, I think in places the Seahawks look really strong.
Yeah, no, like, you absolutely should be happy with it. Like, anytime you can watch your team look comfortable, put up points, yeah, everyone would be buzzing for that. And to see, for me, it's seeing players that you draft actually come in and produce and put up points like that. Torrey Horton, he looks quick, man. And if you can add that by getting him touches in special teams, absolutely, it's the way just to build them in, get them used to life in the NFL. And like I say, it's a home win against the Saints. You should be winning it, and you did. You did exactly what you're meant to do, but that's not easy to do either. So just, yeah, I'd be well happy. And yeah, Kenneth Walker, 2 touchdowns. It's 2 touchdowns. It's 2 touchdowns. It doesn't matter how dominant he looks.
Yeah.
If he's getting in that end zone and putting up 14 points for you, it's more than we could do all game.
Yeah, I mean, I was sat watching it with Dave, and I was watching it on the iPad and passing it over and showing like how efficiently we're moving the ball for the first time ever. But I think that just comes hand in hand with having any kind of lead. And I think last year, I think it tells you exactly what kind of quarterback Sam Darnold is. And look, I'm really happy that we've got a positive record, etc., etc. I think when the going is good, Sam Darnold is great. I think when the pressure is on, that's where he really suffers. And chasing a game is not where you want to be with Sam Darnold. I think when he's got either time or just like he can relax into the game, it just opens this new element in his brain, which is like, it's okay, Sam. It's not, the world's not going to end if you do something wrong, and it just allows him to play way more fluid. But I thought the boys looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it was points, wasn't it? Like it seemed mega easy that first half. The game was done at half time, obviously. I said to you, I think I was surprised that they brought the starters out for the second half. I'd literally put all the Mongoloids in to play the second half. But the only thing that I thought was a bit, not shocking, surprising, was the time of possession. The fact that the Saints had more time of possession than you, which is strange considering what most teams do when you're up by 30 odd points going into half time, is just run the life out of the clock in the second half. And I was surprised how long the game continued to be after that. Yeah, and I think maybe that's an indictment on the running game. Because I mean, we said when Sam Darnold rolled out to the left and threw that touchdown pass, it was unbelievable. Like it was as Patrick Mahomes as you get. And then the next play, you've got Kenneth Walker trying to leap over somebody and just get his body bag done on the other side of it. And I think we just said it seemed like an unnecessary thing just to. I think I'd like to see him. I mean, 44 points, you're not losing unless you're playing Jared Goff, you're not losing if you put 44 points up.
No. But that's exactly right there, Dave. It's exactly right. And that's the sort of point that I was alluding to in the fact that, Kenneth had 2 touchdowns, but he averaged again this week only 2.4 yards a carry. Like he can't, if there's a gap, he can run through it faster than a knife through butter. If he has to try to break an arm tackle of somebody, he goes down like super quick. It's not. It almost looks like he weighs like, I don't know whether he's got light bones or something. Like when he can build some speed up and find a hole, he will go through it. Or if he bounces outside, he will go for yards. If he has to actually try to go through anything, he goes backwards. And I think that's where obviously Charbonnet was injured. And there's a load of things going into this game for the Seahawks. I don't want to get into it because we'll finish up now. But there was a lot of injuries, and it just showed that we have enough depth to stay kind of relevant. We had no Jordan Love or Julian Love, no Witherspoon. Basically, our secondary was a bunch of second stringers, and we still look really good against Spencer Rattler. So, but yeah, to your point, Kenneth Walker and our run game still doesn't look good, which says a lot about trying to make any kind of deep run or play against good teams when your offensive line is not doing what it needs to do in the run game.
No, but, I mean, JSN second in the league in receiving yards. He's basically putting up 100 yards a week.
Yeah,
you've got to be happy with that.
I'm
number one.
Very happy. Yeah, true number one. And without DK there, we needed somebody to do that. So happy that that's happening, I guess. Okay, moving on from my Seahawks getting a win over the Saints. We'll go to the Giants playing the Chiefs. Now, this one happened last night, so this was very, very fresh, but it was also very, very average. And Dave, talk us through this game. The Chiefs won 22-9, and maybe that scoreline is far more generous than it needs to be about the Chiefs. I think it is. But talk us through this game, because Russell Wilson last week went from having about 750,000 yards and 4 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 160 yards.
Yeah, he came crashing back to earth and with a bang. Like, he should have been subbed out probably after the first quarter. He was awful. His picks were stinky picks where he was just trying to force. Malik Neighbors was an absolute nothing factor in this game. The Chiefs did what the Chiefs and what good teams do, which is absolutely cancel like number one receiver. Malik Neighbors, I didn't even know he was on the field. He was double covered on every single play, and it just showed. It showed that outside of Malik Neighbours, you've got Darius Slayton, who's in like year 9 or something now, Wandale Robinson, and Cam Scatterbo, who is unbelievable, to be fair.
I like him.
He's definitely my favourite running back at the minute.
Give us that meme quote.
I think what does it say? It says there's two types of white running backs: cerebral thinkers like McCaffrey, and then there's just absolute crayon eaters like Scatterbo.
Crayon eaters, but that's exactly what he is, isn't it? He does not try to avoid contact. He initiates it, tries to go straight through it.
He should be a fullback, but the Giants were awful. They, outside of Neighbours, they haven't really got a great deal. Their defense, this defense that we've all been harping on about, they sacked Mahomes twice. For the studs they've got on that defensive line. Sorry, you need to be getting more sacks than that. The Chiefs did a great job of protecting Mahomes. They actually got flagged so many times. It was actually quite nice to see.
I was going to mention it.
They got flagged 8 times for 85 yards. But I will say one thing. The NFL needs to get rid of this spot foul for pass interference. I've said it a million times. It needs to go, because it bailed him out massively. And as a cornerback, I don't know what you're supposed to do. You've got to run around chasing these skinny little bastards around the field while a ball just gets heaved up behind you. You're not looking for the ball. You're looking to try and follow these receivers. They just slam the brakes on you, run into them, and it's a pass interference call. It's an absolute joke. What you're meant to do, if a guy stops when he's running full speed, just stops on the spot, and you run into him, that's a penalty on you. That's not your fault. How are you meant to avoid that when you're meant to be getting as close as you can to these people? So it bailed the Chiefs out. I mean, it was a tight game. Yeah, the scoreline. It would have been tighter if the Giants actually had a kicker. So Graham Gano got injured in warm-ups, and they got the Hammer of Scotland or whatever his name is, Jamie Gillan, kicking field goals, and considering he's a professional guy who kicks a ball, you can see why he's a punter and not a place kicker. Yeah, just a stinky game. The Chiefs don't look like they're doing anything. They're very lucky, in my opinion, to be 1-2. This game could have easily gone the other way if the Giants had maybe schemed up a better game. I think Brian Daboll's on the hot seat massively.
He should be. He's had enough time in this league now to show that he can do something. And I don't like him. I really don't like him. All I see of Brian Daboll now is him sweating, red in the face, yelling at folk on the sideline. And it's like, that kind of coaching works, I think, when to a point. But when you're the guy that's yelling at people for not doing their job really arrogantly, he just comes across as a bit of an arrogant knob. And I think after a point in time, you can't be that guy. You've proven nothing for the last 4 years. You can't be the guy that's giving all this lip service to your receivers and expect them to respect you, because I've not seen any great coaching come out of Brian Daboll certainly in the last 3 years.
Well, this is the prime example of that. He's doing that on his sideline, and Andy Reid's chewing out Travis Kelce on his sideline. There's a massive difference between them two coaches. One's got multiple Super Bowls and he's an absolute legend in the sport, and the other's a fat little bald guy. Yeah. And the funniest thing is, obviously, in his first season, they went to the playoffs and won a playoff game. And the owner of the Giants said to him, because he was walking around like he was the King Don or whatever, and he said to him, it's very easy in this town to go from being like a hero to an absolute clown. And that's just exactly what's happened to him. They've done absolutely nothing, and again, when people like Daniel Jones are leaving that team, Saquon Barkley are leaving that team, and they're going on to have career years at other teams, it shows you that maybe it's the culture within that building.
It definitely doesn't prove the opposite, that's for sure. And that's the problem, is it probably looks even worse for Brian Daboll. And I know he's not necessarily the one making the personnel changes, so to speak. But it definitely looks worse when you've got Danny Dimes looking like a prime Josh Allen. You've got Saquon looking like LaDainian Tomlinson, all playing even Evan Ingram, playing somewhere else looking like a really good tight end. And you're the fat bloke on the sideline yelling at people to do their jobs. I don't respect it. And the fact that not having the stones to do what you need to do as well. That game was there for the taking. Russell Wilson clearly was just shitting the bed. Like, Russell Wilson thinks, and it worked last week against the Cowboys, but this week I saw basically Russ in that mode of just flying moon balls out against the Chiefs. And every single one of them was picked, because if you've got half-decent secondary, you're not going to have a 60-yard floated bomb land on you for a touchdown. If you're a well-schemed defense like Spags' defense is. It just looked like Russ was out of brain cells. And then what happened at the end of the game was criminal. He went for they had a 4th and out where Russell Wilson sailed the ball outside the end zone 3 times in a row, and they were only 5 yards from the goal. That touchdown would have taken them back into contention. It was brain dead football from Russell Wilson. Jackson Dart should start coming in. It's quite hypocritical, I guess, because last week we were all being like, 450 yards for Russell Wilson, but at the same time,
doesn't it? It happens, and this is the issue now.
Good.
No, and you got all the fans shouting for this new quarterback to come in, Jackson Dart, who's going to be the saviour of the franchise. I remember this exact moment when they drafted Daniel Jones 6th overall, and Eli Manning was playing. And I mean, Daniel Jones had 3 head coaches in New York. That's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, that is bad.
And they benched Eli, for Daniel Jones. And just look what happens. You need to be. And I saw a real good interview with Jordan Love this week, Cam, and they asked him a question. They said, if you could have changed the way you came into the league, would you have done it? And he said, absolutely not. He said, there's no way I'd want to be a starter day one in this league. He said, I had the greatest opportunity, because I learned from a Stonewall Hall of Famer. I learned the system, learned everything, learned how to read NFL defenses all in those 3 years he sat behind Rodgers. And we're just going to throw Jackson Dart into that. It's not, if you drafted number 1, Cam Ward's got no choice. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be the starter. But if you're a late first round pick and you've got an opportunity to learn from a Hall of Famer, let him do it. Just play Russell Wilson this year and just let the chips fall where they saw.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Moving on. Obviously, just to summarise, the Giants lose that game. The Chiefs get a very, very well needed win, and the Giants are another 0-3 team. It's weird. The NFL at the moment feels like it's really hard to win a game, and that the differences between good, great, and shit teams are getting very, very much smaller. But at the same time, I feel like we've got the biggest chasms between teams at the moment of wins and losses. It's like the bad teams have actually lost and the good teams have actually won, and that's where we're sort of sitting, which is super interesting to see teams at 0-3. Camo, coming to you for this one, and this was a hard fought game between 2 divisional rivals in the Niners and the Cardinals. This was a stalemate for the majority of this game. It still finished almost as such, 16 to the Niners, 15 to the Cardinals. There was a safety in this game. There was very little offense in this game. There was a big injury to James Conner in this game. Mac Jones is again a backup starting quarterback, which is just crazy to think. And the Niners get another win and go to 3-0. Is there any hope in this? Was there any hope in this game, or was this game just doomed to be average?
I think there should have been hope for a Cardinals fan,
I think so,
or team. The Cardinals should have come in thinking, okay, we're going to the Niners, but actually they're missing their starting quarterback, who I don't rate particularly high anyway. But talking of players that have not lived up so far, Marvin Harrison Jr., the guy, someone else that just needs to learn to catch a ball, because he makes some big drops when it's needed. You mentioned it. The Cardinals team always runs for me through James Conner, and nasty looking injury. He's going to be out for a long time. That's not going to help this team in the slightest, because they need that run game. Kyler Murray is one of those that can run around and can toss it up, but when he's tossing it up and is number one receivers not able to come down with them, and they've now not got the run game. It's going to be pretty bleak for them. But then again, on the other side of the thing, the Niners, you've mentioned it before, they are such a scheme team. Doesn't matter who you have in at quarterback, because they don't play, you might want to say it, they don't play exciting football. Like, it's very simple what they do.
Yeah,
but
the players are the players that
effective.
make it exciting, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's like when
they are
that ball
effective
lands
with
in
it.
McCaffrey's hands, not anymore, but he makes it exciting. Or when that ball lands in Kittle's hands, he makes it exciting. But they're all only catching balls that have been thrown 6 yards.
Yeah, but that's what they've been for so long now. And on defense, losing another superstar this week, Nick Bosa's done his ACL.
I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but he's definitely injured.
Yeah, so it's a huge loss. He's someone that seems to not be able to stay too healthy, which is such a shame because he looked incredible very early on in his career. But the Niners managed to scrape out another divisional win.
Yeah.
So huge for that division. And I mean, what way did you want this to go? You probably want to go the Cardinals win, didn't you?
This was a weird one. At one point, I was like, I want the Cardinals to win. But then when I saw the Rams lose to the Eagles, I was like, oh, maybe I want the Niners to beat the Cardinals so that we can leapfrog the Cardinals when we play them this week. So I think the chips fell how I wanted them to fall ultimately. But it doesn't really matter, does it? I feel like I've just got to look at this with like the eyes of a full season and
so
go,
take it week by week.
Yeah, and ideally what I want to happen is I want the Cardinals to fall off, which I know they will because they're not good. They've played some poor teams to get a 2-0 record. Now they're 2-1. The Niners will be whatever the Niners will be. I personally still don't think they will be as good. They beat us in week one, and week one is week one. I feel like if we played them again now, obviously they're injured, like really injured, we would beat them with their current team. But yeah, I just think ultimately the Rams are going to take number one spot. All I care is that we do business to be able to get the number two. So yeah, I didn't really care. A draw would have been nice. No. Yeah. But yeah, safety's in that game. So another, massive special play made, but Kyler Murray just, running around in his own end zone is just not what you need to see. It's like a toddler with a new lollipop when he.
But that's exactly what you're going to get.
I know, but I just don't like seeing it. It's just annoying. No. So yeah, and then that's it. That's that game. And then we've got 2 more games left. One, Chargers Broncos, and Dave, you had your eyes all over this because you've got Herbert in fantasy. But can you talk us through the Chargers game?
Yeah, so the Chargers beat the Broncos 23-20. It was a bit of like I say, I've got Herbert in fantasy, and it's strange how fantasy makes you like people because I've actively disliked him since he was drafted, and now I can't get enough of Herbert. So yeah, it was a slow game, and they had to come back from the depths of despair to win the game. They put up 10 points in the fourth quarter, which is essentially what got the deal done at the end. Yeah. Herbert threw for 300 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. And the interception was a good old Madden interception where the ball gets battered up in the air and then somebody picks it off. Amarian Hampton came into the game because Najee Harris has blown his Achilles out. Hampton went for 70 yards on 19 carries.
That Achilles blowout couldn't have been more obvious though, could it?
Oh no, and I said how depressing must it be, like you're on the floor writhing in pain, the quarterback just steps over you and carries on playing. Absolutely zero fucks given about your health. But yeah, it was actually quite a good game. It was quite a tight game. Yeah, the Broncos controlled a lot of it and just kind of imploded at the end. I'm kind of glad Bo Nix shit the bed at the end. He's not been good at all this year, and he wasn't good in this game, but he kind of does enough to kind of get him where they need to be. He's like annoyingly good defense, and the defense is just so good it keeps games close. He was 14 of 25 for 153 yards and a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins at 83 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Cortland Sutton, who hadn't seen any of the ball in the last 2 weeks, he had 118 yards and a touchdown. So it was a bit of a close game. But like you say, it's so strange that these play such a tight game, and the Chargers are 3-0 now, and the Broncos are 1-2.
Yeah,
That's a really weird division, that AFC West.
It really is. It's hard to call.
Yeah, I mean they're all tight. What are they all now? What are they all 1-2? Apart from the Chargers, but the Raiders won a game.
Raiders have won a game, so yeah, they're all
so
they're all 1-2.
They're all 1-2 in the Chargers, and all the Chargers wins have been in division wins as well, which is huge for them.
That's massive. Yeah,
they beat all divisional.
Massive, yeah.
Imagine your first 3 games being all divisional. That's savage, isn't it?
But it's come out with 3 wins.
Yeah,
be in a better spot.
No, Quentin Johnston's finally discovered that he has hands and they are for catching balls, and he's doing it. He had 89 yards. Keenan Allen's just a stud, and he's come back to that team, and he catches everything.
Yeah, he's amazing. I said to you last night, didn't I?
Yeah,
they didn't have him a week before the season, and what a difference that would have made if they didn't have him for these 3 games.
No, they're all stepping up. Lad McConkey had 41 yards. Keenan Allen 65, Quentin Johnson 89. They're all kind of stepping up and playing their part, and they all seem quite selfless. They don't seem like they're demanding of the ball, and they're all getting the fair share. But their defense, man, Derwin James he's a monster. He had 10 tackles and 2, so he had 12 tackles in 1 sack. They're just an absolute sick team, I think. Or they've been built really well, and the head coach, I think they coached really well. I think everyone's got respect for him.
Yeah,
Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, and
they could be a really tough team to beat if they make the playoffs. If they, well, obviously they look like they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they'd be a really tough team to take on, because I feel like they could probably beat anybody on their day.
Yeah, and I mean they're efficient on 3rd down. They were 50% on 3rd down, whereas so they were 8 of 17, whereas the Broncos were 2 of 13. That's such a massive difference in games. The penalties, the Broncos had 10 penalties for 90 yards. The Chargers had 3 penalties.
Yeah,
they did lose a fumble, and so the Broncos turned them over twice, and they still couldn't get the win, which is shocking when they're built essentially to play from the front, because their defense is just so good. They lead the whole way through to the 4th quarter.
Yeah, no, for sure. The touchdown that Herbert had as well was amazing. Like the rollout, throw on his back foot was unbelievable.
Yeah,
nice. Chargers win 23-20, 3-0. That's our game recaps, and so now we can go into our final segment, which is Game of the Week. And this was a hell of a game of the week. A table turner. The Rams from LA versus the Eagles of Philadelphia. And it was a sort of an instant classic. Tight game eventually. The start tight, massive momentum swing, and then ended up in one of the wildest finishes you are yet to see, which is a field goal for the Rams to win that gets blocked by the biggest youth on the team. Picked up, scoop and scored, running about 90 yards for the touchdown by Jordan Davis for the Eagles, and the Eagles get the win. It's absolutely hell of a game, and I don't really know how the Rams let it happen, but the Eagles at the end of the first half had less than 35 yards passing, which is crazy, and the Eagles win 33-26. I don't know about this one. Like it was like just switched on. It's like the Eagles just decided, oh, by the way, we can throw the ball, so we're going to throw the ball, so let's throw the ball. And as soon as
they remember they had AJ Brown on the team.
Yeah, and AJ Brown just made it look like he was playing against children, which is crazy.
The amount of times he'd catch it, the defender would fall onto the floor.
Yeah, because you had AJ Brown in fantasy, and the Eagles are obviously the Eagles. The Rams are looking super dominant.
The Rams looked great in the first half. They looked fantastic. They were able to run the ball, pass the ball. I think this was a great game. Devontae Adams came up really well in the first half. Yeah. What a 1-2 that is, Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. That's as good as it gets in my eyes. And Stafford is just the right quarterback for that team. But they went up. They got more points and more points, and their defense was just stopping everything the Eagles was doing. That is it. Jared Verse is class.
He's amazing.
So good. But I don't know. I do not know what was said at half time. Fair play to them. They changed up. They decided to start throwing the ball, and Hurts was just finding people all over the field. Goddard is a great tight end for that team. Like, I think he gets so in the tight end conversation, he's just not spoken about enough, but he is so productive for them.
He is, yeah.
And then, say, talking of 1-2s, you've got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. That's not a fair combination. They are literally little and large. One's huge and powerful. The other's so quick and just can catch a ball. And AJ Brown, thank God I've got him in fantasy, actually in one play quadrupled his points for the season.
Yeah.
But what a big second half from him.
Yeah.
Considering he hasn't been involved this season, to then be able to produce that. And it was it became really tight. And like you say, Jordan Davis came up with some big plays. Yes, he obviously got the block and the recovery and the score, didn't he? On the field goal.
Full block, full score, full touchdown. That's, again, special teams coming in. He was amazing playing generally on the front line, and then even more amazing in special teams. But he took it to the house, and that big boy should not be able to take that to the house.
No, like he didn't even have to take it to the house. Like
no.
They got the block which won the game. But yeah, what a way to just put an exclamation point on it. And
yeah, amazing.
The Eagles
really poor from the Rams as well to not execute something like that.
Really poor from the Rams to be up that much and give it up. Not be able to just tick over enough points to see the game out.
Yeah.
Right. That for me is the poor game management side of it. And that's not something I'd expect from a Rams team. But what this does
very, very often.
No, what this does to me, it just solidifies that the Eagles are the team in the NFC. Like, you can't really count them out. They will find a way. If they can't do it on the ground, they can certainly do it through the air. And they've got everything on both sides of the ball.
Agreed.
It sucks.
It sucks unless you're an Eagles fan. And unless you're an Eagles fan, then you obviously love life that you can feel like you're being so downtrodden by the Rams and still come back and win it. But you're right. AJ Brown, he probably would have been on somebody's sign list if we were able to sign Game of the Week participants, but we're not. But AJ Brown, 109 yards, 18.2 yards a catch, 1 touchdown. And it was more about sort of the manner in which he caught the ball. Mm-hmm. Like, he was just catching it and just shrugging other large humans off him, which, that's hard to do. But he's built very different. And Jalen Hurts, for every tush push that he obviously can and does do, he's also got, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and a pass rating of 117 in his back pocket if he needs it, which is just annoying, really, because they're really good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game that you thought, oh, Eagles going to lose this.
Yeah.
And they come back, and like I say, to end it like that, how so many games this week came down to blocked field goals. We saw it a couple of times last season, but
3 in a week.
2 or 3 in 1 week is mad.
Absolute madness. But yeah, I think that's a proper game of football, though. When you've got Matty Stafford and Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith going at it. You're watching proper football there, really, really good. Good mention. I think one of the rookies coming out of the draft who I had my eyes on for the Seahawks, Jihad Campbell, linebacker for the Eagles, has been freaking awesome for the Eagles. He had 8 tackles, 5 solo tackles, pass defended. He had a forced fumble in game 1. Like, that's a hell of a thing,
Shock horror. They draft well.
Yeah,
Who knows? Yeah.
Shock horror. Top drafted player or top touted player falls to the Eagles at number. Yeah, it's a good game, a really, really good game to finish on. And both of these teams, I mean, this could very well have been.
It could be
NFC
a playoff
championship, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could easily be a playoff game.
And then, Dave, final thoughts on that game, considering that you used to hate the Eagles, now you don't mind the Eagles and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I said before the game, I could see the Rams turning them over, and then it was all going the Rams' way. And like you say, I think they've got that ability, that team, the ability to just do whatever they want. If they want to run the ball, if they want to do the tush push, if they want to drain the clock, they can do that. but get them in a hole and they've got them weapons, you know, then passes to, and it's not that AJ Brown just did it once, he did it twice, you know, they threw him the ball and he just destroyed the people that were trying to tackle him. Devonta Smith can just run routes like a bad mother tucker. And then their defense is just absolutely staunch, man. That Zach Baum doesn't get anywhere near the credit. He's the best linebacker in football. He tackles, he can pick the ball off, you know, he can do everything, he can sack the quarterback. He definitely doesn't get the respect he deserves. But I think in terms of the game, I'm glad the Eagles won, but I do think there's a strong chance that that's going to be the NFC. I think it's going to be the Eagles, and it's probably the Eagles versus the Rams or the Packers. I think they're the sort of three standout teams. Three of the lines in there as well. But I think, that's it on that game.
Yeah, no, good game.
That is your week 3 recap sorted. That is slap or sign, and that is our game of the week. From some wild game recaps to maybe the craziest collection of special team highlights that we have ever seen in one week, football clearly never disappoints. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you follow us on socials at In The End Zone UK. Let us know your own slaps and signs by DMing us whenever you want to. That is always nice to see from our listeners. And we shall be back for week 4 next week. There is a game in the UK, so football is essentially on all day. So for us UK fans, that is going to be a delight. But until next time, football is amazing. We'll see you in week 4. Boys, thank you for joining. Talk next week.
In a bit.
Peace.
Peace.
Catch me balling like I'm in the end zone. I got my homies in the no new friend zone. You know, making plays that land us in the end zone. Coming in clutch, you can catch me in the end zone. End zone.